Welcome back to the Ambition Over Fear portal. I'm Atlas Opia, and I help people expand their interdimensional knowledge. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about fear. How can we develop a new relationship with fear instead of trying to avoid it or trying to exterminate it? Find a way to see value in its essence, so we can be thrusted into new areas of growth and comfort. The really interesting thing is, we're comprised of shadow and light, and this entire universe works in different types of energies, playing off of each other in duality to create something in between. There's two different charges that can allow something energetically to have enough of a gravitational pull for that vibration to come alive. So when we are only chasing light and we're avoiding shadow, what we're doing is we're basically saying that 50% of our energetic resources are no longer valid. We're no longer valuing half of our internal system. And a lot of times when you're in a place where you're approaching your shadow and your fears from a more gentle approach, and you're understanding why you have a fear, and that is allowing you to heal more of a subconscious belief that you didn't know was there, you're still using and leveraging that part of your system, but it may not seem as heavy. So the real question is, how can we have a more empowered relationship with our shadow? So step one in overcoming fear is understanding why it's there. Now, to understand something, you have to think of the root of its creation, because when you find the beginning of something, you're able to understand why it was created in the first place. You're seeing the functionality of how something works. So if you think back to our caveman days, if you can imagine your consciousness going outside of your body and moving into the body of those that were living when the human species first became manifested as a form of life, fear was there to protect primitive humans from external dangers. Fear was there as an alarm system to prevent somebody from going in the wrong place, or eating the wrong plant or fruit, or playing with the wrong animal. And a lot of times that fear can come in through the intuition. Those primitive humans felt an intuitive pull to not do something because of fear of what could happen. But now, there are some of us that are still in physical survival. And to those on that path, blessings and empowerment sent your way. But a lot of us are moving into emotional survival. And so what happens is, fear can come up when our energetic system feels off balance. When we feel as if our energetic system, which is our emotions, is going to overtake our ability to survive, that fear mechanism kicks in. And in reality, as we're moving through those spaces, fear becomes a signification that something is threatening our system. But the system itself can be our subconscious mind, which is a program of thoughts and beliefs that generally give birth to an identity of who we are. But once you realize that who you are is just an avatar, it's a story, it's a character that your soul is embodying in this reincarnation. It is not you. You can realize that there is nothing to lose, that when you go beyond your comfort zone, when your emotional system starts to become overflown with inertia and energy, and you feel your logical mind being suppressed. Now, although it's good to move into your intuition, when your emotional body is preventing you from functioning in a fluid manner, that's when that fear can come up, the subconscious fear of, what if I cannot handle myself? What if I'm not able to provide for my own world? What if I'm not able to be in this reincarnation, right? Our system, which is our identity, develops fear whenever we go beyond it. Now, step 2, the fear itself should be recognized for what it is. When you're experiencing fear, ask yourself, what kind of fear am I experiencing? Because when you have your intuition start glowing and you have an urge to not do something, it's less of a fear and more of a subtle, playful hint and push in a different direction. That's how I experience it. But what I'm talking about is the fear that is a repetitive dialogue in the back of our head. It is trying to be an alarm system for when our system of energy is being disturbed. So when you're experiencing fear, ask yourself in that moment, am I going beyond my identity? Am I going beyond the subconscious thoughts that have led the way thus far? And then really shift your attention into, is these thoughts and emotions and beliefs, are they serving my future? Because if you're to look at your identity or a timeline you're experiencing, which is a version of reality that is being projected from a specific pattern of energy and code, then you can take a moment to realize that maybe this part of reality or this part of myself doesn't need to survive. Then you can disarm the system of fear which gets triggered when you go beyond the mechanism that is supposed to keep you as a soul in this body, plugged into this matrix, so you can have the experience as a human. So fear will come up when you're challenging your subconscious mind, when you're challenging the different ways you have perceived reality, because now you're going out of the program into a new one. And when you're moving from one program of identification with this matrix or your body into another program of identification, that space in between is when you're purely in your higher self. It is when you're in a free-flowing space, and your mind and the identity that encapsulates the software that is your mind, that gets very challenged, and you can release the idea that it needs to be protected. So that's step 2, is realizing that sometimes fear comes up because we are going beyond the structure of energy that we have previously been associated with. And at times the mind doesn't know how to operate beyond itself, right? The identity, the avatar that the mind is wrapping itself around, exists in its own framework. So when you're going beyond the story, beyond your identity, beyond the way you previously connected with the world around you, you're escaping a system, a program that is meant to keep you safe in this matrix, right? Safe means a part of the simulation and not in between the cracks, but in the simulation enough to where it's a constant field of experience. Now, step 3 on how to transmutate your fear, how to understand fear, comes from emotional alchemy. Emotional alchemy is the ability to recognize that each of your emotions has a right to live, breathe, and be heard. Just as if you see a parental figure talking to their child, and the child has this fear or concern or emotion, if the parental figure shuts down the child from even having that voice, no matter if what the child is concerned about is truly logical or has grounds to be concerned, right? The child will feel silenced, and the child will start to question and judge their own emotions and their own thoughts instead of allowing themselves to feel the essence of something long enough to appreciate the existence of that thing being there. The parent should allow the child to speak their mind in whatever shape or form, have whatever emotions they need to approach the child with the divine feminine. Allow the emotions and thoughts of this child to be real, because they have a right to express themselves. And then move in with the masculine energy and say, well, logically, is this fear valid? The parent is telling the child, this is what is happening, these are your options, this is how to move around it. Your higher self is the parent, and the reincarnations you have had are your kids. Sit in that metaphor for a moment and feel into that, because it's really cool once you recognize that it is true, because your higher self is the all-knowing, omniscient being. It is the caretaker of your body. The higher self leads the way. Your body and your mind need to let go of control and let the parent teach and guide the way. You will let go of control and allow your metaphorical parent, which is your higher self, take shape. So when you're experiencing fear itself, you move into the higher self. You move into the position as if you're all the way in the sky at the highest point in the universe, looking down at your body, and you can feel in your higher self that the fear is this majestic, powered emotion. Now, a lot of us are going to say, why would you call fear majestic? Why would you call it powerful? Because something has to contain a certain amount of power and force for it to change something else. It's physics, right? In order for this ball being pushed at another ball, in order for that second ball to move, the force of that first ball must be strong enough to change the energy of the second ball. So when you do that, you can take a moment to go, whoa, that's powerful. The fear that I'm having is really intense. It's really honorable, the fact that I'm allowing myself to feel this. At that point, you're moving from your higher self, which is the observer, and you're bringing your higher self down through the top of your head into your body, and you're allowing the fear to be this ball of power that you're able to hold, not reacting to it, right? Not having to heal it or fix it, just feeling into that. And then the more you're in a neutral space, you disarm the fear, and you're not associated or attached to how that fear makes you feel inadequate as a person. You're just viewing the force. And then you realize that that fear is there at times because you're going outside of your comfort zone. And that may be you're growing in a direction in life that you haven't gone, or you're allowing yourself to go in your own thoughts and sit with thoughts that you didn't allow yourself to sit with before. And that's really what it is fear only increases itself when we ignore it. It just screams louder. Hear me, please hear me. Be aware of what I'm trying to show you. So when you're going into new areas of growth and you're going into the unknown, your subconscious mind, which is the blanket that is keeping your soul in this consistent reality, gets threatened. But then you can tell your mind and speak to it and say, hey, listen, you're gonna be way better off after we deal with this. After we move into this new awareness, you're gonna feel a lot better, right? So step 4 in how to deal with your fears, how to transmutate that energy, is understanding why it's there. It's there to propel you beyond the parts of your life that you're stuck in. As we were moving into different stages of human beings, that feeling of pain really allowed us to evolve in a direction that was away from the pain or fear. A lot of times in life, ask yourself, when has the biggest changes occurred? Now, although we don't want this to be a reality, we all prefer to learn only from joy and not from pain. But what if we were not resistant to the process of alchemy, shadow becoming light and light shining into the shadow? When you change a lot, when I have gone through the biggest changes, is when I'm experiencing a level of fear and pain that causes my body to not want to be in that frequency anymore. So it pushes me and floats me into a new realm of growth that I would have to move into in order for that fear or pain to be less powerful. It's a catalyst. So you use that to ignite yourself. You use the pain as fire and fuel to push you forward. As it's pushing you, as it's propelling you. The only thing stopping pain and fear from being gas in your vehicle or a propelling force forward is you judging why it's there, you needing to fix the pain, you needing to eradicate the fear, and you judging yourself for even being fearful, because at times we look around and we think all these people that are experiencing life on a higher scale, they must not have fear because look at how they're living. We have this idea of perfection, this dreamlike state that I'll be happy when reality is in euphoria. What if euphoria and these states of success that people are in is because they're embracing fear and they're allowing it to be this high vibrational entity that allows them to pull from their state of strength and power and force within, because that's what you have to do to channel the empowering parts of fear. That's what you have to do to conquer the emotion itself. And by high vibe, let me explain. Vibration is the wavelengths of energy. Right? When you're measuring the frequency of an energy, it looks as if you're observing a heartbeat monitor. You have an up and a down, up and a down. High vibrational means the vibration is powerful in measurement because the waves of energy are large. Truly, the meaning of a high vibrational thing means that something has enough force to change something else. And oftentimes we get confused. We say high vibe is happy, low vibe is depressing, or whatever the case is. It's no longer about that. High vibe and low vibe are just your ability to recognize different quality resources in your own experiences so you can change them into something else. Now I want to let you guys know, there's time to move into that animalistic nature inside of you. You can be a peaceful person, but also have the ability to embody the power and force of this universe. You can be a gentle movement of the wind. But then when you have to embody the power of fire, you need to embody that and not think that that feeling itself is venturing into aggressiveness. No, I think that aggressiveness and anger is having a level of powerful energy in your system that does not know how to be allocated to the right place. Anger is blame. Aggression is being mad at the self for having a large amount of energy bouncing around inside. When you channel the anger and aggression, it's no longer harmful to yourself or others. It's just a lot of energy that's been packed inside of your system that you haven't been able to express. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I make videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Subscribe to this portal if your goal in this reincarnation is to find out how can you embody the best version of yourself. How can you move into a timeline in this reincarnation where you're taking the interdimensional powers of your soul in this universe and you're merging it into your body and your mind, and you're a hybrid being. If you have had reincarnations as different beings on other planets and you're remembering this strange, powerful, familiar feeling, but you're not sure what that reincarnation was, or you don't know what it means, I can read your akashic records through my galactic quantum coaching. And it's not only about revealing the information, but understanding what reincarnations are significant to the life you're in now. What things are you healing now are connected to other circuitries in your soul's archive. What parts of your passion right now come from different past lives that have the same theme? And then also, if you're a galactic guardian or a creator, you need to allow yourself to move into a level of expansion where you're learning skill sets that can lead you into tapping into alternate dimensions of consciousness, ones that create excitement in your cellular system because your body knows it's rejoining with the true you, which is your soul. I teach practical skill sets on consciousness. I bring advanced consciousness into a form of understanding for your mind so you can heal, create, communicate, and transmutate energy in different dimensions between different groups of beings, because you may have had a reincarnation where your soul really has been called to that. All right? Hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember, this is not about being spiritual or not being spiritual. This is about remembering the different layers of consciousness that exist in the universe and your place in it. All right, guys, take care.